Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Ah, the sound of clinking ice, or icing clink. I'm being iced with beers. It's time for Thirsty Thursday. Danny and Joe talking about stuff. Laker chewing his ball over there. A studio audience here today as well as we get rolling and talk about all the fun things that we usually do. Music, beer, ideas, sports, nonsense, jokes. I don't think we tell jokes. I think we've talked about this before. The unfunniest people in the world are people who tell jokes. It's very rare that a person who tells jokes is actually funny. But that is a rare commodity when somebody, you find somebody who says, hey, I've got a joke for you, and you're like looking forward to it. But anyway, we'll see what our path takes. And usually our path is set by the all-encompassing, fun, and highly regarded Fact Check, which opens each and every edition of Thirsty Thursdays every other week right here on the Reasonably Irreverent podcast at DannyClinkscale.com. And all of the nonsense and the sense and everything in between comes your way next. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. I just want to thank everybody for supporting local restaurants during this time of uncertainty. 23rd Street Brewery is now open until this pandemic is over. And right now, more than anything, local restaurants need your help and support. Come on out and see us. 23rd Street Brewery is open now from 11:30 till 9 o'clock for dine-in and carry-out. Whatever we can do to help you out, maybe with your catering needs, too. I appreciate all the support, and thank you for continuing to shop local.
Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from WreckExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit WreckExpert.com and learn more.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyClinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Danny, we're back. Buddy, how are you?
I am fine. I think I'll probably give myself a solid B- on the open today. So I think that we should improve now, starting right away. But I think we always get rolling on the fact check because we want to make sure that the facts are correct. We have a probably better than a B+ grade on that.
Ooh.
But I think a humorous amount of corrections.
Well, I've got a numbered list.
Oh,
it's gotten to
wow.
the point where this needs to be numbered.
Wow. But
Okay,
usually
Danny.
it's an affirmation, not a
Yeah,
slap
sometimes
across
I just
the face.
scratch it on the back of a envelope, but today it's on lined paper. So we talked last time about yard beers,
Yes, we did.
right? And so a yard beer.
I am not having a yard beer right now.
No, what
I'm
are you
having
having
a
then?
fine Moretti
Ready, that's right. I'm having
with
little,
a two-hearted ale waiting in the wings.
in the chamber.
Exactly.
I'm having a taste of summer here.
Yes, and that was what you heard at the outset with the rattling of ice. But you've got a Warsteiner just about ready also.
He's ready to roll. So Urban Dictionary says that a yard beer is defined as a beer that you drink when you're working outside and you throw the empties in the yard and then just pick them up at the end of the day. Okay?
Well, that's maybe the origination, but that's certainly not what happens now.
Well, so I looked up a couple more articles, and you know how I love lists. A couple of beers on these lists I didn't know. Do you know Schaefer?
Oh, sure. Yeah, big beer in the East when I was growing up.
Oh, okay. So that's a yard beer, huh?
Now, here's something here. They had a jingle, and it was, Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. All right? Well, that became politically incorrect, okay? Like you weren't supposed to have more than one.
Yeah.
So it changed to when you're going to have some fun.
Oh, the first way is better.
Yeah, of course, because what they were saying is, hey, this is kind of piss, but you
Listen,
can drink
if
a
you're
lot of it.
pound some beers.
Right, and it's cheap, so get after it. Yes.
How about Stroh's? Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
S-T-R-O-H-S?
that's a Milwaukee product, I do believe. There's another fact check for next week. I think that's out of Milwaui.
I've never had either of
I think
them.
Stroh's, yeah.
Are you happy? Would those be yard beers? That falls?
Yeah, those are yard beer quality.
For sure.
No doubt.
We're talking hams.
I think Stroh's would probably be a little bit up the ladder from Schaefer.
Okay.
I don't think I ever saw Schaefer sold in any form, at least once I was a fully formed adult. Almost always you saw it in 16 ounces.
Oh, well, for the drive home.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I think there's one in my car right now. No.
So we talked about all these racist-ass shit with Aunt Jemima and Eskimo
Right.
Joe. And I was like, well, I wonder what the new names are going to be. They're going to be announced in the fourth quarter of this year.
Boy, there must be some real hard work going into that.
Yeah, and you know what else I found out? Do you know who owns Aunt Jemima?
The Ku Klux Klan.
Close. PepsiCo. So,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, I never in a million years you think...
Well, I mean, I'm sure they didn't original. I'm sure it has.
No, for sure. I imagine, but got me thinking, like, what does Pepsi own? I bet they own some stuff that's like a missile factory or something, right? Like something you wouldn't even think of, right?
Well, anything you could buy up as a multinational corporation.
That's right.
So did you find any dirt in the old Pepsi closet?
I didn't look. We'll save that for next time.
Okay, all right.
I allotted an hour and a half to this fact check, and I ran out of time. I did want to go down that rabbit hole, which we're going to talk about rabbit holes here in a minute. Let's do it right now. So I looked up where rabbit hole comes from because I use that term a lot. Mm-hmm. I found out from listening to our podcast. So do you know where it's from?
I don't. I just, it's sort of self-explanatory, so...
So I thought it was from Alice in Wonderland, and it is, right? So it's from Alice in Wonderland. He goes down the rabbit hole, right?
Right.
What I didn't know is that Alice in Wonderland was written in 1865.
Oh, yeah, I did know that.
I mean, that guy's smoking some opium or something writing that in 1865, right?
Yes.
I mean, crazy. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the sunglasses that Nicholson wears, right?
Oh, right.
Remember
Those
this?
So dumb aviators.
So they're not aviators. I looked it up, and we've
They
established.
certainly looked like them.
Well, we've established that I'm a sunglasses aficionado, right?
Right,
And
right.
so they're not aviators. They are Roca Phantom alloys. They're $199.
Well,
so.
I didn't think he was trotting out, Napoleon Dynamite vintage glasses, but he does look like a state trooper.
But do you know why he's wearing them?
Because they paid him.
Incorrect. Here's the real story. So during COVID, when they were all shut down, he did this thing called Carac cream cancer cell killer on his face, where it goes in and it kills all the precancer cells. And then it messed with his eyes, so he had to wear protection when he went outside. And he went out to hit in the range. Your eyes are rolling so hard you can hear it on
This
the
is the
podcast.
same guy who, after a tournament, said something about Five Guys and how he was going to celebrate by having some Five Guys, and he loves them. And then subsequently, we found out he just bought 5 franchises.
So not a Mickelson fan. Got it.
I don't
Check.
dislike him. He just kind of is what he is.
So, okay, well, that I it's a cancer story. I thought you'd be on board with that.
Well, I just have a high bullshit meter on Phil Mickelson. That's all.
Okay, so we had some Shiner Box last time.
Tasty.
Yes, and we had to figure out where the Spatzel Brewery.
Oh,
is,
right.
right?
Yeah. Were
Okay,
they
so-
bought by somebody?
They've changed hands a little bit since they started, but they started in 1909. Okay.
Nice.
And they were founded by a German and a Czech immigrant, right? So it is German.
Okay.
And they came over to America and they couldn't find beer like they had at home. And they're like, well, I guess we got to make a brewery. So
did they make Shinerbach originally?
yeah, they're the ones that started it, and it's in Shiner, Texas.
Well, I bet that was probably a well-known fact to many, but not us.
Yes. So it's pretty cool that so it is German, right? So we talked about Wilt Chamberlain and all of the ladies in his life.
I think this is the 3rd consecutive Wilt visit, to be honest.
So we thought we were surmising that maybe this interview happened in a Playboy or in a Vanity Fair or something where he talked about sleeping
I
with
thought
the
it was a
20,000
Playboy
ladies.
interview back when it was a big thing.
Well, I found it, buddy.
Okay.
It comes from his 1991 book called A View from Above. Okay, so not only did he have plenty of time to figure this out, because it's in a book, his
Right.
editors had time to figure it out. And this was right in the middle of the HIV crisis, and he caught a bunch of crap over this comment. I was reading back through some articles. It's crazy. And so I also did a little math, So if
Yeah, the math does not add up.
you talked about the math.
And regarding this particular topic, it's rather ironic that his book is called A View from Above. And I will go no further.
Okay, so let's assume he's got one lady a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah, that doesn't add up to the
It's
20.
54.7 years to get to 20,000 ladies.
Right,
Okay?
and in 1991, Wilt was probably 45 or something, I bet.
I'll have to look that up. Well, then you might say, what if he had 2 a day, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 at the same time. Who knows, right? I mean,
I guess that would count.
so that would take him 27 and a half years, right, to get there. So I suppose that,
That's getting into the ballpark of possibility.
yeah, so
I guess.
maybe it's more like 15,000 or something. We just give Wilt a little.
Well, the man would get worn out, I would think, eventually, or bored.
I don't know about
I'd
board,
like to
buddy.
give it a
Come on,
try. But
Okay. So I've got 2 more for you here. One more on Wilt. I talked about Shaq in comparison to Wilt,
right.
right? And you were talking about the athlete that Wilt was. And I made a foolish argument talking about Shaq because I looked up the statistics. Good Lord Almighty, Wilt was dominant. I mean,
No, it's a joke.
dominant. He averaged 50 points in 61-62. And I also learned that there was the Warriors were in Philadelphia, and I wanted to ask you. So that's when he played for the Philadelphia Warriors. Is that the same as the Golden State?
Yeah, they moved, and then they replaced him with the 76ers.
Really? When did they do that?
I think they got a franchise maybe almost immediately when they went to out west,
Okay.
because there weren't that many teams in the NBA. So,
Yeah.
I think they replaced him right away.
Well, the logo for the Warriors back then was fantastic. So I went on.
So it wasn't bad? It wasn't a bad one?
I mean, well, I didn't think about it in that vein. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Because we talked about that.
It just looked cool, and I looked for a T-shirt with that logo on it and couldn't find one, and so maybe that's why. Yeah.
The Warriors were one of the times, 2 or 3 times that I saw, I think I've mentioned this before in this podcast, that I attended at the Boston Garden, to give you an idea of the struggling nature of the NBA at times, and doubleheader.
Oh, you're kidding.
They used to have doubleheaders. They'd have a game like at 5 o'clock, and then they're 5:30, and then they'd have a game at 8 o'clock.
They get everybody out the door and back in, or is it you?
No. You just stay. That was the idea. I mean,
2 for 1, man. Just
right?
Like
Because
Wilt.
they were trying to get some other people in there, and I saw the Warriors play, and I was all suburban white boy here. I think my aunt, which I would refer to her as then, before I moved to the Midwest, and everybody became insects who were their dad's sister.
It's another thing.
But-
it's another thing that I did. I say soda and I say aunt
Right.
because I decided we've been over this.
Right. So, and that I don't know who it was, but the Warriors had a black player, and he was like a really black man, like that you don't, then that you didn't see that much. He looked like an African black man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we had front row seats, and I was like, my jaw was I'm like, whoa, look at that man. He looks different than anything
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was really eye-opening. It was very eye-opening.
Yeah, it's that's crazy. They had double headers, and the players
Yes.
would all play 2 games.
No, there were two teams that it wasn't like the Celtics and the
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, the Warriors would play the Sixers, and then for added value, and then the Celtics would play, the Bulls.
So they would play in somebody else's barn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Okay, so the last one's an easy one. You said that Patty Icicles had done a Vanity Fair article.
Oh, what was it?
He did Vanity Fair and many others. So
I wasn't the only one.
So I don't know if you get the credit for that because you didn't really know it was Vanity Fair. It could have been one of the others that you'd seen.
Well, I don't count. I'm talking about non-sports magazines that usually would have like Mark Wahlberg.
Oh no, yeah, there's
or,
a bunch of them. Yeah, like the
so
New
he-
Yorker and there's a bunch of them.
So he did the New Yorker.
I don't know if they did the New Yorker. I'll have to
Probably not.
fact
The
check
New
that.
Yorker's really not that type of. They don't do personality profiles. I don't think.
Well, la-di-da, I don't know. That's just the only other one I can think of. What's another big glossy? GQ.
GQ.
Yeah, I imagine he did GQ, right?
Well, I don't know. That's probably another fact check. Those are the two that are kind of in that wheelhouse. I would say generally.
So we talked last time about sunglasses, right? And about how you talked your wife out of buying expensive sunglasses
I did.
because she'd lose them.
Yeah.
I talked
if they lasted a month, it was good.
So I talked my wife into liking expensive sunglasses because I do. We got her a new pair maybe a month and a half ago, and guess what happened this weekend?
She lost them.
She did, and I swear you cursed me.
Well, 6 weeks. That was a pretty good run.
She lost them at the soccer game.
Think of all the places, because it's not top of mind awareness. I mean, it's not really.
I just don't have the problem of losing them. I'm like, just put them on your head. We drove all the way to the lake, and we had to go after soccer, so it was like 9:30 at night by the time we left. It was not a pleasant ride after the
That
sunglass
sounds awful.
loss.
No, I mean, just driving at 9:30 at night for a long drive.
it was-
Starting.
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal, and then I didn't sleep worth a crap, and I was in a terrible mood all day Saturday. So that's, it's just a wasted trip,
Yeah, I
Wasted.
think I might have just gone. I don't like the crack of dawn, so I don't know if I
Well,
would have
see,
done
that's
that either.
I'm like, I don't like getting up at 5 in the morning. That's not my jam, right? So I'm
Right.
just going to power through tonight. Everything will be fine. It was terrible. But
How
Sunday
long a
was
drive
fun.
is it to where you go?
We can do it in 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
if
that's
it.
still midnight rolling in.
Oh yeah, it was midnight, and we had to stop and eat. It was a nightmare.
Oh,
Yeah, with 2 kids, it was a
I remember.
unadulterated
Remember,
nightmare.
for a few years, it ended up being a wonderful thing. UMKC played Southern Utah. Southern Utah was in the Mid-Continent Conference.
Okay.
and it's just across, or pretty close to just across the border from Nevada. So they used to fly to Las Vegas and then drive up. And then on the way back, they would stay in Las Vegas, get back there at 12:30, try to keep the players from going out, which didn't really work. But they'd always have a pretty early flight.
Yeah.
Eventually, I turned it into I used to take a couple days and
Just
stay extra.
Are you a
Watch
Vegas
this-
guy?
Not really, but I watched the Super Bowl there one time. And anyway, they'd finished the game, and it was about a 2.5 hour drive, maybe a little less, from there to Vegas on the bus. But the first couple of years, they stopped to eat. And I'm like, usually they get pizzas on the bus, and then they stop to eat. I'm like, no. I rented a car after that, and because I'd make it back, I'd make it to Vegas by, 11:15.
So Papa's got to gamble.
I'd actually get to do a little something. I'm not really much of a casino person.
So what are you doing in Vegas when you're in Vegas? What's your deal? What's your jam?
Well, I might do that because it's something in those days I couldn't do generally in other places. That much.
Yeah.
Or just wasn't inclined to do it in other places. So I might play some video poker or something like that. Eventually, I did go on Super Bowl weekend one time, and I did play some sports bets. So that was kind of fun.
You're not no blackjack, no craps.
I generally have been my career has been in radio. so gambling, fairly large amounts of money
is,
even a $5 table,
yeah,
you can lose a lot of money pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
And if you lose, what's the fun for me? Say I've said, okay, I'll allot $75. All right.
You can lose that in 10 minutes.
And then you're done. Either that or you're just going to the ATM and then you're in real trouble. Then you're really doing something stupid.
Yeah.
So
sure.
They actually one time in the same vein when UMKC would play whatever North Dakota University, I think it's the University of North Dakota in Fargo. We went there a couple times, and also the T-Bones played there the year that I did the T-Bones, and they had blackjack in just bars.
Really?
But it was for education. Yeah, the money all went to education.
Oh, got it. Right? Like the lottery.
And it was dollar blackjack.
Oh,
so that was
right up your alley.
That was pretty good. Yeah. Cheap radio boy could play some blackjack because I do like
it's
playing
fun,
blackjack.
Yeah.
It's fun.
The rush.
It's fun.
But
so the dollar version was okay.
So you would stay in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 or 3 days.
Played some golf sometimes.
Oh, golf. That's a good... Did I ever tell you about the time I played golf in Vegas on the...
I played the worst golf course in the history of golf courses when I was in Vegas.
We were
there's a lot of nice ones there.
We were on our way to the golf course, and the taxi driver is like, man, I have never heard of this golf course. And we're like, yeah, we found it. My cheap neighbor found it on Yelp. Well, he's not cheap. That's not fair. He found it on Yelp, and we're bad at golf, so he went with a cheap one. Right. And the taxi driver's like, man, where are we going, man? Y'all gonna golf in the hood. And so that's his exact words. And so, the movie Casino?
Yes.
When the plane is going around doing the surveillance and they land on the golf course because they ran out of gas. That's the second hole. That's the fairway of the second hole of this golf course.
I think I think I played that golf course.
Oh,
it was kind of in the hood, and it looked like it was once a fairly nice golf course.
Yeah, it was like
but it was hard baked, and it was just in horrendous shape. And
they paired us with a couple of guys, and I was standing behind the guy when he was getting ready to drive. Okay, these are a couple locals; they're regulars,
right?
And he turns around and looks at me on the first hole. I'm standing back there. I'm just back there. He's got 15 feet or whatever. He turns around and looks at me. He goes, "Don't stand behind me when I'm driving." And I'm like, okay, we're just here to have a good time. And I'm not a great golfer. And they were pretty good. And they were so pissed.
Well, he was probably a good golfer, and I don't know where you were standing, but it probably was by
Is that a thing?
High-end golf standards. You could have been in his whatever sight line he had. I mean,
really behind him.
Backswing. There's certain places you're supposed to stand and not supposed to stand.
Oh, so I was breaking etiquette.
Never really bothered me. You might have been. I'm not saying the guy wasn't a dick.
I mean, I'm sure I was. And then we proceeded to just have 15 yard beers.
Right.
And just, hack it around. And this golf course was awful. But you could tell the houses that were built around it were, really nice for the time. And they were, the owners of the casinos.
I swear we played the same golf course.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, I think, because I did the same thing. I looked online, and I was like, I'm not going to pay $100 to play golf because, normally I seldom have to pay to play golf in my life. It's what my wife always has called me, the director of free services. I don't make much money, but a lot of free stuff. And so paying to play golf hurts.
And we
so
rented
like
clubs.
a $39.99. I'm like, okay, that's my jam right there. And it wasn't even worth whatever I paid.
No, wasn't worth
bad.
that. The carts didn't work right. We rented clubs because we didn't take our clubs with us, and they were the worst. I mean, they're like...
I've been there. I probably rented clubs that time, but I used to be that guy until just a couple of years ago. If I was going to play golf, I always brought my golf clubs.
Yeah.
So,
I figured you were that guy.
Yeah, I was that guy. But now if you play someplace half decent, they generally have really good clubs.
Yeah, they most places,
So they do. Anyway, on that note, I sense a visit to Vegas in a future edition.
I've got some stories.
Of Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense. The fact check, as usual, consumed or at least launched us through the entire first segment. I don't know what Joe has up his sleeve. Still to come on Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense, right here.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner, and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that. And moving on in age, as we all are, what do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. They just contacted me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. It's time now to get some great assistance on healthcare with Chad Beisel from NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com. And Chad, even your business's name would indicate that you have a real aggressive way and an important way to go after some health insurance for your clients.
What I've found out in the industry is just a lot of people are really confused. They don't know what plans are good, what their plans offer, how they cover. And so I've just taken the approach of being really educated on what options are available to clients and showing them all the options that are available and making sure they understand them so they can pick and choose what options are good for them.
And one thing that's really important, of course, is access to doctors and hospitals.
Absolutely. That's becoming a big issue for a lot of people. Some of the plans out there are going to restrict those clients to where they can and cannot go. So if you live just outside the Kansas City metro, some of the counties outside, you may not be able to go to some of the hospitals up here in the Kansas City area. So making sure that you have a plan that's got doctors and hospitals and places you want to go is really, really important today.
Learn more by visiting NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com and let Chad help you. Let's spend a minute with Dr. Brad Woodle, who along with his wife, Dr. Christina Woodle, the owners of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, my home for chiropractic care. And first of all, just tell us about the wide range of services you offer.
Danny, we offer comprehensive chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapy, and rehab. We do a very thorough examination, x-rays on site as necessary, and we have a full rehabilitation department, so we can help out with exercises, stretches, different therapies for the complex, but also the very simple conditions we treat.
You have been deemed essential and have remained open all through this COVID-19 process. What are some of the things you've done to make sure that was the case?
From the very beginning, in March, we started to make sure that we were cleaning and sanitizing with EPA-registered sanitizing products. We also implemented masks way before the state required them. We implemented a parking lot waiting room, took out half of the chairs in our waiting room, and made sure to space out visits so we could appropriately meet, discuss, and also screen patients to make sure we were taking care of healthy people.
Find out more about Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture and how they can help you at asfca.com. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back. We're rolling along. The fact check is now history. You know, it's wildly popular. People, just call themselves fact checkers. It's a club now. It's a club. Joe, you look desperately disappointed.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You've reached the bottom of your beer.
I know. It's a bad
I think we're going to pause. We're going to pause. You won't really notice this because it'll just pick right up. But poor Joe has started too fast, and he needs another beer. So we will just.
It's going to be it's radio magic, is what it is.
See the magic of radio or podcast or whatever you want. Joe really had to go away and come back and crack open that beer that you hear. So we roll on. And last time around, I think I mentioned that I wanted to talk about pickles. And the reason was, like many foods, I guess, pickles can really be something that you eat and you go, damn, why don't I have pickles more often?
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you.
And then other times you'll have a pickle and it'll be like, oh, I know why I don't bother. and I can go a long time without having pickles in the house and whatever, and I don't really miss them. But then if my wife happens to bring home some pickles and they're good ones, a soft, mushy pickle.
Oh, yeah, it's gross.
Not
okay, so I have a series of questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
Are we talking bread and butter? Are we talking chips? Are we talking about minis? We're talking about gherkins? Are we talking about the full-size pickle?
Probably more I'm more sort of towards the fancy high-end pickle that's more crunchy, more cucumbery.
That's where I'm at. Okay.
I hate sweet pickles.
I am right there with you.
Even though I don't despise relish, although I probably haven't eaten it in 30 years. I don't know.
I'll have some relish in some tuna salad or something. That's fine as an ingredient, But listen, if I ask you for a pickle and you hand me a sweet pickle, then you can just go fly kite. Get out of here. Get out of here with this sweet pickle
What you
crap.
should do is say, this sort of I have an analogy for this. You should always announce that it is a sweet pickle.
Oh, yeah. You don't hand somebody a glass of sweet tea and be like, would you like some tea? Oh, that's the worst.
But if you go,
kidding me?
If you go in this, my kids lived in the South for 5 years.
Yeah, that's tea.
The first time I was there, if you just ordered tea, which I don't really drink iced tea, but maybe one time I did by accident or something, or I sort of had a taste for it, and it's like syrup.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's like you're drinking maple syrup in a glass.
We're going to take a little diversion. We're going to get back to pickles. Don't ask me if I'd like a sweet tea or an unsweet tea, okay? Because there's no such thing as unsweet tea. There is tea, and there is sweet tea.
Right.
You don't have to take the sweet out of it. You don't have to it. I literally, in the drive...
The original product
exactly.
is tea.
I drive I drive around a lot for work, and I drink a lot of iced tea. Because it's like water, only... little caffeine. I mean, it's better than drinking soda all day, right? So I go through a lot of drive-thrus and I'll grab a tea at McDonald's or whatever. Oh, would you like a sweet tea or an unsweet tea? I swear to God, I always say, I'd like an iced tea. Sweet or unsweet? And I'll be like, tea. And they'll be like, sweet or unsweet? I'd like a regular iced tea.
At McDonald's?
Oh, really?
For how long?
Oh, dude, it's...
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's insidious. It's awful. It's disgusting. You put the sugar in the tea. You don't take the sugar out of the tea. So why do I need to order unsweet tea? Sometimes I'll have like a 5-minute conversation with the people in the window because I won't say unsweet tea. It is a principle of mine.
I think it's a good principle.
Thank you. By God, it grinds my gears.
I like your principle there.
If there was anybody that would understand that, I knew it was going to be you. So
I will say this, however. I'm not much of an iced tea person. I find that it's sort of just like drinking water, but with the barest amount of sort of flavor in it. And so why would I pay for that when I could generally
I love how
get
cheap you are.
Well, I think some of it's just principle. Like I will not buy a bottled water. That is not happening.
Yeah,
You know,
I try not to.
I mean, if beer came out of the tap, I probably would never go to the store. I mean,
What a great example.
I mean, it's free, free, and people like at the ball game. That's what I really don't get it. Oh, I'll have a hot dog and a bottled water. I'm like, it's $6.
Where are you going to get the water at the ball game?
I don't know. Get a cup of ice and let it melt, or buy a beer.
Now that's
You're gonna
the right
pay.
answer.
You're gonna pay the same amount.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, no way, Vo. Now, if you can go places and buy like 1,000 bottled waters for $8 or something. Okay, then you have them in your house. I get it.
Okay, quick tip from a guy that drives around all day. You can go to Quick Trip. Now, they won't allow refills anymore.
Right, or at least currently.
Right. So, yeah. But you can get a big cue, fill it up with ice, and their water is filtered. You fill that up with water, slap a lid on it, drop you a straw in there, drop a quarter, $1 American quarter on the counter. On your way out, you're done for the cup. And you've got an ice water, filtered water, for a quarter, right?
Good plan.
Now
and
we're
you're calling
talking.
me cheap.
Drink a lot of water, Danny.
I'm the
I'm
cheap one.
occasionally dehydrated.
Yeah, I'm a
So, back to pickles.
Okay.
Okay. Pickles need to be crisp, not mushy. Okay. So don't come to me with one of those giant pickles you get at the gas station, that are like the
and
size of a.
Also, they're almost. I like to have with my lunch maybe something that approaches a vegetable.
Yeah.
And so on the road a couple of times, I've actually tried the pickle.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to eat in the car without pickle
pickle
juice
juice
getting everywhere. Yeah. I mean, everywhere in the world. I've just that ship has sailed. I gave it a try a couple times.
So
Could
me.
you just have some celery sticks and a carrots and a little plastic, flying saucer like
They
you can
do
get?
at Quick Trip. for
Yeah,
sure,
sometimes
buddy.
they do. Sometimes they only have fruit.
Yeah, they do. But grab yourself some grapes.
It's okay.
Nice little
It's not as
snack.
good. Yeah, but I'm not a sweet and salty guy. So with my sandwich, I
Yeah,
don't
that's the
want
problem.
grapes.
That's the problem.
I want a carrot.
The problem
or
is because you're
something.
wrong about that.
Well.
So, so give me a mini gherkin, okay, where they're like the size of your pinky finger, so they're crisp.
Usually not as good though.
Really,
Kinda like
you
the
think?
baby carrot.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should taste test some pickles next time.
Hey,
Blind
maybe you've got it.
taste
Maybe
test.
Maybe you've got a good little one. I
Boy, could I have teed that up any
Have
better
you-
for you? I wondered when you were going to hit that one out of the park.
Have you ever had a baby carrot that tasted as good as a good carrot?
No.
I don't know how. What do they do? They aren't grown. Like I don't.
No,
think
they manufacture them.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
and they taste like that,
Yeah, they do. They taste processed.
right?
Like when I get real, you know what? You're not supposed to skin your carrots either. Did you know that? 'Cause
Oh,
all of-
I like them unskinned. Yes.
yeah, because the skin on the carrot. See, I'm always astounded by the things we agree on. Because that's good for you. They say all of the dirt and
All right.
everything.
Here's
that's on there is good
here's
for
a
you.
food conundrum for you.
Okay.
All right, you go somewhere or you grill, and you make shrimp, and all the spicing and seasoning.
Peel the damn shrimp before you cook it.
Well, that's true. But a lot of times people don't,
I know, because they're idiots.
and I think it's prepared in restaurants usually more that way.
I know.
It comes with and so then you're sitting there and you're going, well, they put all this delightful spice on it, and if I take the
Yeah, take the
casing
skin
off.
Yeah.
There goes.
And
there
I know
goes
what
your-
you're talking about because you love Chinese buffets, and I know that about you. And they'll have that like pepper shrimp or the jalapeno shrimp. It's got that, and it gets all sticky, and then you're peeling the shrimp, and then the shrimp skins are stuck to your fingers. And look,
I'll eat the shrimp skin. I don't care.
I know you do. I know you do. We've talked about this.
I don't
it's
care.
ridiculous. It's asinine.
Well, also, if you really think it's asinine, it's almost like sunflower seeds. You can't eat it and sort of manage to not swallow the skin. That's possible. You can do that.
You mean the skin on the seed
yeah.
inside of the shell?
No, I don't. I'm thinking that's what sunflower seeds. What you do because you spit the seeds out.
Mm-hmm.
But you can actually take a piece of shrimp with the skin on it, or whatever we want to call it, and eat it. And so you're kind of done, and the skin's still in your mouth.
Oh, really?
Oh,
You've got like a sunflower seed situation.
Yeah,
there.
that's
that's
now if you're in a
fascinating.
restaurant, you kind of reach in and pull it out. I mean, you don't want to do that.
You like got a spittoon.
But if
you got a shrimp skin spittoon.
if you're eating lunch by yourself,
Hey, can I get a spitter for my shrimp real quick?
but also it can be very frustrating to peel this skin off.
So listen, you come over to my house, and I'm making you some shrimp. There is not going to be any skin on the shrimp because the flavor is going to be on the shrimp that you're going to eat. So you're not going to peel the skin off where I did all the work to make all the flavor.
So I'll look forward to that. I will look very much forward to that. In general, not that big a fan of the little baby sliced pickles. But
Yeah, we're back to pickles. Yes, you know what? I'm not talking about sliced pickles, but we're going to do this next week or in 2
in
weeks.
our next edition,
Whatever.
whenever that is.
Whenever the hell it is, we're
That's
going
right.
to do it.
That's why
We've
we
done
always say our
Vegemite.
last edition or next edition. Maybe we pop up with a bonus one. Who's to say?
You got to check.
That sounded very Jewish right then.
I'm not sure you're supposed to say that.
I have many, many Jewish friends, so it's probably...
You think you're okay?
Well, you got Jewish holidays off from school when I grew up.
Really?
Yeah.
My kids went to Jewish preschool.
Yeah. It was really cool because school started, and then it was almost immediately Rosh Hashanah or
Yeah.
one of those in September.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them right then.
And there's a bunch in October.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Yes. Well, you have many. That's what we do here.
Yeah, I know. Have you ever broken a bone?
Well, I tore up my knee, but I probably broke a finger or something. No. The answer is in general, no.
Really?
I haven't broken an arm, a leg, and
What do you attribute that to?
good fortune, I would say, in general.
I mean, are you...
I do have a bent. See this little pinky finger?
Ooh,
Nobody can see it.
yowza.
Now,
So Danny's pinky finger does not straighten out.
no, it does not straighten out. I heard it playing basketball, the standard,
Jam your finger
got a
or whatever.
pass, didn't catch it properly, or a guy threw it too hard. I'll blame him. And it was like this. So I went to the doctor, and the guy said, usually if it's bad enough, they'll break it again and
Yep.
put a splint on it, and so it will heal properly. And he told me it was fine; it would heal properly. No, but I have little tiny fingers. It doesn't hurt. It wraps around a golf club just fine.
Just fine.
So,
You're good.
No problem.
I've broken so many bones. I broke my ankle when I was in 8th grade playing basketball. Remember, we were talking about dunking in the last edition. And the town I grew up in, there was a company that made the goals that crank up and down.
Okay.
And so this is the early 90s. It was still kind of a novelty, right?
Yeah.
So they put them in the park in town so we could play dunk ball, because they were the local business or whatever. It's called Future Pro. I think they're still around. And so we were playing on 9-foot goals so we could dunk. And I was just working this guy over. And I'm just throwing it down on this guy over and over again. And he's getting mad.
Uh-oh.
And I go up to throw it down on him on a fast break. And he undercuts my legs, like cuts my legs out from underneath me. And I heard a pop. And I looked down, and I saw the bottom of my shoe looking at me.
Oh.
It was bad, right? And I'm a bit of a drama queen. So every time I would get hurt, I'd be like, oh, I broke something. And so I'm like, oh, I broke my ankle. And nobody believed me. And then about 5 minutes later, it was the size of like a grapefruit.
Right.
It was purple. It was awful, man. It was awful. And the next day, they gave me a bunch of painkillers at the hospital, and I had to go to this like history competition the next day. And I'm doped out of my mind on these painkillers.
Probably rattling off the answers like
in 8th grade. Yeah, we won.
There you go. Drugs are a wonderful thing.
You know they are.
At times.
So no broken
in moderation, kids.
So did you play football?
Very little football.
Okay, so you're a baseball guy. You never caught one in the face and broke your nose?
Never. No. I hit someone in the face and broke their nose with a pitch on purpose.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Dave Farron didn't like him.
Is this in practice or?
He was on the other team.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you threw at his head.
Yeah, I did.
Wow. How old were you?
12.
12-year-old Danny's firing fastballs.
Well, we were the two. We would end up being the number 1 and number 2 draft choices for Babe Ruth League the next year. So
really?
We were kind of hyper competitive, and I wasn't. I didn't like pitching. You know, when I was 11, I was the best player in the league.
But they made you do it because you had an arm.
When I went to 12, we lost our 2 good pitchers, and they made me pitch. And I didn't really want to pitch. I mean, I had a good arm, but I didn't like it, and I didn't want to do it. Dave Farron, I didn't like him, but
So
I did have relatively good control. So
what did he do to piss you off?
he just was an asshole in general.
Did he know? Okay, how does a 12-year-old be an asshole? Like, what was he doing?
Just one of those guys.
Okay.
Just one of those guys.
He's just a douchebag.
No, right. Nobody really liked.
Got it.
And I didn't like him either. And so then he turned out to be a second-round draft choice, okay?
Okay.
I was the first pick in the draft. He was a second-round choice on my team.
Oh, how'd that
the
go?
next year. So we were on the same team.
How did that go? Good?
I think he ended up quitting.
Really?
Yeah. I think
You destroyed a poor 12-year-old's dream to play baseball.
No, that I hit him the year before, so I didn't destroy it.
Did he know that you purposely hit him?
Probably. Probably.
That's
I'm not a particularly malicious or violent person either, but Dave brought out the worst in me.
Yeah.
I don't think I was really trying to break his nose, but I did buzz the tower.
Did you go to school with him? Did you guys go to the same school?
Yeah.
And how many people were in your school?
Lots. I live in a very large town. So.
Did you grow up in the same school the whole time?
That was junior high by then, so it was a very big junior high school. But then I think he went to Framingham South, maybe. I went to Framingham North.
I mean, my junior high school was huge, man. We had like 70 of us. So,
well, my graduating class was almost 700.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had 43 in my graduating class. It was the biggest class we'd ever had in that school.
Yeah, almost 700. And in fact, we were the epicenter of the best example you can imagine of the baby boomer era.
Oh, yeah.
In my junior and senior year, we actually had to have double sessions. We went to school from 7 to 12, and the freshmen and sophomores went to school from 12:30 to 5.
Oh, my gosh.
The school didn't
really?
the school didn't have enough room.
Yeah, that's very
and then
interesting.
Immediately after it crested, within 5 years, half the junior high schools had been closed, and there was only one high school in the town.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny, man. What year were you born? It was like 1902?
1956.
Yeah, so you're right there.
Right.
In the
right in the
epicenter.
baby boomer. Yes,
Yeah.
right there.
That's interesting. I'm sorry, I find that interesting, man.
Yeah, but being in a school that large has its. But it's kind of the same. They were the same. They were cliques and everything like that. They were just bigger.
I guess, but like I knew everybody that I went. So there was 43 people in my graduating class, and I went to preschool with 26 of them.
Right
Okay,
on.
so like, I'm sorry, with 16 of them. I added 10. With 16 of them. So 16 of those people knew me since we were in the sandbox.
That doesn't sound good.
And then a third of those that I didn't know since then were like related. Right. So there just wasn't a lot of.
What's funny is that I can go through my yearbook and I could give at least a thumbnail sketch of each person.
Really?
Even though there were that many.
That's interesting.
I could at least tell one little nugget
Snidbit about them, yeah.
about every person.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Just about. I don't think there's not any person that I would just look at and go, Who's that?
I have people in my Facebook page that say that they were in my class in high school. There was 43 of them, and I don't remember them.
I kind of either cursed or blessed with quite a good memory.
I mean, the difference between your memory and my memory is just astounding to me.
Well, maybe we should test that out next time.
Ooh, a little game of memory, a live game of memory.
Well, it sounds like pickles and memory next time around. What a theme!
I love
but
it,
you know
Danny.
what? Pickles go pretty good with beer.
You know what? I don't think I've ever had pickles and beer.
I don't think I actually ever sat down and said, "Let's have some pickles and beer."
Hey, buddy, can I get you some pickles and some beers?
Pickles and beer. In closing, what do you generally think about fried pickles?
I'm a fan.
You know, we had lunch in a little town a couple of weeks ago, and they served them with the little baby slice ones, and it was better because when you get the big one, all the stuff just falls off.
No, I agree. The sliced is better, and that's how I've always had them in Nollins, and I always think of that as a Cajun food. I don't know if it is a Cajun food. Fact check. But I think of it that way because that's the first place I ever had them.
There you go, pickles and beer. What a good way to round up another wild ride of sense and nonsense here on Thirsty Thursdays. And we do it among the many other things we do in our wide array of podcasts here at the Danny Klink Scale. Reasonably Irreverent Podcast at DannyKlinkScale.com.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klink Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com, specializing in expert healthcare guidance and assistance for you.